Hello my dear friends and colleagues. I welcome you all back to the second part of our Adapt and Adopt series for COVID-19 and dental practice. So far, we have learned about how to adapt our dentistry to this pandemic during the first part of our presentation. Now, let us see how to and what kind of measures we need to adopt for good dental practice during this pandemic. Consider this adaptation and adoption of measures what we've been discussing now as a preparation for our new normal. Now let us see what modifications or measures we need to consider for adopting into our practices in view of this pandemic. Now let us see what are the modifications that we need to consider. They include stepping up of our infrastructure, etiquettes to be followed in different areas of our clinic, role-specific designation of work distributed among our staff in the clinic, and also the aseptic measures. Earlier there was a recommendation about 3D disinfection tunnel at the entrance of our clinics so that we can be sure that when a person enters through this tunnel, the fomites are destroyed because of the sodium hypochlorite spray that is being dispensed in this tunnel. But in view of the harmful effects on eyes and skin because of the direct exposure to sodium hypochlorite, this is no more a compulsory recommendation, but one must consider a judicious use of disinfection tunnel if required. Coming to the reception, reception is a minimal risk zone in your clinic. The reception staff should be provided with appropriate PPE and certain etiquette has to be followed in order to curtail the spread of the infection within your premises. Now let us see what are those measures that we have to adopt in your reception. Your reception staff are the first one to encounter your patient and handle them and guide them through the process in your reception, and they need to be trained specifically for the role they are designated to, and also they have to be provided with appropriate PPE such as 3-ply 3-layered facial surgical mask and also the face shield or a proper full cover eye goggle for protection of the eyes. Make sure you maintain the principle of social distance at your reception as well. The slots have to be created for the patients to approach the reception desk in a way that they are distanced apart from each other at least by 3 to 6 feet, and also there is a chair left between the patients or a couple of chairs left between the patients in the seating area also in order to maintain a distance between your patients in the lounge as well. Make sure to have a hand hygiene area right at the reception as soon as the patient enters into your clinic, and ask the patient to wash their hands thoroughly with the soap, and also welcome the patient with hand sanitizer and provide the patient with a 3-layered facial surgical mask. Now ask your receptionist to scan the body temperature of the patient using a non-contact thermal scan. The COVID-19 questionnaire and consent form, this is the most important aspect of your practice amidst this pandemic. Consider obtaining this consent over telephone call itself as we discussed earlier in the first part of our presentation also, and make sure that the conversation is always recorded so that it can be taken as a recorded consent from the patient for further proceedings in your clinic. The questionnaire should include the travel history of the patient from anywhere abroad or from any identified zones of positive cases. The history of signs and symptoms of COVID-19 infection and the history of recovered COVID-19 infection will give you an insight into what kind of patient you are dealing with. And also the history of systemic health status will help you to identify the susceptible individuals who are at risk of contracting the infection very soon. E-payments. This is one of the most effective ways of curtailing this risk of spreading of infection through currency, because the currency in the form of either notes or the coins are established to harbor fomites which can transfer the infection from patient to patient during the transaction. So in your reception make sure you have e-payment facility and ask your reception staff to recommend the patients to pay only through e-payment mode. Now coming to the operatory. So what are the measures and etiquettes you have to adopt into your operatory as such? The first thing you do in your operatory is the patient preparation. As you already have learned from the first part that the case history and the informed consent have to be obtained preferably through the telephone call itself. If anything additional is required, consider audiovisual recording in your operatory once the patient is with you. Mouth gargle with 0.2% povidone or 1% hydrogen peroxide for 1 minute before screening or before any procedure will help in reducing the viral overload within the oral cavity. Patients must be provided with appropriate thickness of PPE, that is at least up to 50 GSM, before being subjected to any kind of treatment. Perioral scrubbing with 5% betadine solution before commencement of any procedure will help in decreasing the viral load again during your procedure. Now, the patient PPE must have a hair cover, mouth mask, then a gown, gloves, leg covers and shoe covers. Do not touch is a powerful tool and is a very effective technique when you combine this with especially frequent hand washes using soap or hand sanitization with greater than 60% alcohol sanitizer to avoid any inadvertent transmission of virus by touch. Also, one must practice conscious touch in order to avoid any unnecessary contact with any object or your face. Hand hygiene is a very basic technique which we've been following all through our practices, and at this point in time one must remember that this has to be done meticulously using the recommended guidelines for at least 20 seconds each time you scrub your hands with a liquid hand wash or any soap. Also, make sure that there is availability of hand sanitizer everywhere in your clinic at wherever points possible in order to maintain your hand hygiene at all points in time throughout your clinic premises. The face PPE for the operator, the assistant and whoever is within the range of operatory is very important to protect oneself from the respiratory droplets from the patient or from the colleague, and also the dangerous aerosols which are produced during your dental procedure. The face PPE consists of a 3-layered facial surgical mask, an N95 mask, the eyewear, that is full protective eyewear, and the face shield along with your head cap. The personal protective equipment for the operator and the assistant should be of at least 100 to 180 GSM in quality. The basic PPE consists of a jumpsuit which is also called as hazmat suit, an N95 mask and the eye protective wear and the face shield, and also your glove, the shoe covers and the leg covers, and also a disposable biohazard labeled bag in which you will dispose the entire PPE once you use your PPE. Now coming to the PPE sequence, the donning and doffing sequence of PPE is extremely important in order to protect yourself from coming into contact with any of the contamination before your procedure, during your procedure and after your procedure as well. So how do you wear your PPE or don your PPE? Start with putting your clean scrubs on, put your shoe covers or trauma boots, wash your hands, put on N95 mask and then put on your head cap, put on 3-layered surgical mask on top of your N95 mask for double protection, put on eye protective wear, do the scrubbing of your hands from tip of your nails to 1 or 2 inches above your elbow as per the recommended guidelines of scrubbing. Put on your surgical gown, put on your surgical gloves and top up with a double layer of surgical gloves again for extra protection. Now once the procedure is over, how do you doff your PPE? First, remove your gown along with your glove in a way that the gloves also are peeled along with the gown when you remove your gown. Do not touch the outside of your gown or gloves at any point in time. Put on your examination gloves once you remove your gown and gloves. Then remove your shoe covers. Remember, at this point in time, you do not touch your headgear. Until you get out of your OR, you are not supposed to touch your headgear. Now remove your glove without touching the outer surface again, and then wash your hands thoroughly. Then put on your new examination glove, and then consider removing your headgear, that is your goggles, surgical mask and the head cap. Remember, the N95 mask is still on and that has to be removed later on. Then you wash your hands again and put on a new mask, or shower and change into clean scrubs again for the next procedure, or when you are done for the day. One of the most important considerations in your practice is reducing the load of aerosols within your operatory. The best and economical ways for doing this is by providing cross ventilation in your clinic. If your clinic is in closed premises and that is not possible, you can consider using extraoral high vacuum suction or air purifiers or high efficiency particulate aerosol filters. An absolute barrier technique with covering all the surfaces in your clinic with proper and appropriate barriers along with your protective wear, it will help you in reducing the risk of exposure to any contamination in your operatory, both for you, your assistant as well as your patient. Now we have seen all through what are the etiquette and the measures that we have to consider in order to perform a clean procedure in our clinic and also reduce the risk of exposure to the spread of infection in your reception as well as in the operatory. Now the most important aspect is housekeeping protocol, which will help you in keeping your environment clean and maintain appropriate and adequate disinfection and asepsis in your clinic. Fogging. Fogging is recommended to be performed using silver hydrogen peroxide wherever possible, or quaternary ammonium compounds using a fogging machine. The fogging has to be done after your day's procedure, that is towards the end of the day before you close your operatory or the clinic, and also between the procedure, high risk procedures what you do in your clinic during the day also. The mopping or wiping of the surfaces using an appropriate disinfectant like 1% sodium hypochlorite or bacillor or bacillocid will help you in maintaining disinfection of the area which you are coming into contact all through in your operatory as well as in the reception area. Consider cleaning all the equipment using appropriate disinfectant and also all the surfaces which we tend to come into contact, and also consider wrapping with appropriate barrier technique in order to prevent any contamination of the zone you are utilizing in your operatory. Also consider the equipment like RVG sensors which you use routinely also to be covered with your wrappers. Disinfection of the water lines is one of the most important aspects we have to concentrate hereafter. So what can be used for disinfection of water lines is povidone iodine or 0.1% sodium hypochlorite. Then disinfection of the operatory with UV light can be considered at the end of the day after fogging to maintain the status of disinfection until you resume your work the next day. 30 to 40 watts of UV light per 100 square feet exposed for at least 8 hours is recommended for effective disinfection of the operatory. The dental healthcare worker is responsible for the entire housekeeping protocol maintenance, so the dental healthcare worker should be provided with appropriate PPE as well. Now, not going into great detail of sterilization protocol, which you already must be adopting and practicing in your clinics. You can consider having this scheme which makes things easier for you. Like you have a red zone where you collect all the soiled and contaminated instruments and clean them and ship them to a clean zone where you actually disinfect the instruments and then package them for sterilization, and then ship them to a blue zone where you sterilize the instruments, store and keep it ready for delivery. Last but not the least, as all of you must be following, the biomedical waste disposal is also important, which has to be done according to the Universal Biomedical Waste Disposal Protocol and Policy. To summarize, one must consider including general principles like isolation and social distancing into their practices, COVID questionnaire and consent as a routine, case selection and appointment scheduling protocols to be adopted, hand hygiene, personal protective equipment, strict asepsis disinfection and sterilization protocols have to be followed meticulously, and of course the patient instruction and follow-up are a must in view of legal considerations. Now to conclude, I urge all of you to update your knowledge with all the necessary information regarding this pandemic, adapt to the new situations and adopt whatever measures you have to consider into your practice. Be wise and be ready. Stay safe, stay concerned. I thank you all for your patient listening, and I wish you all the best for your practices during this pandemic, also post-COVID. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.